We're not far away from leveling up. Okay. So, that was just a random group of interesting enemies that we happened to come across. I mean, I hear a lot more of them around here. But, let's see. This is the next spot we're looking for. We should probably save here as well. Okay. Well, the hidden treasure is actually... I think it's going to be in through this pit. Have we been here? Maybe not. There's a glowing thing there. So that's going to have some kind of quest-related thing. Okay, well, I think these are all the intrigas we were hearing about previously, perhaps. Yeah, we definitely have not been in here. This is glowing red, so it's definitely going to have something quest-related. Bent key and yellowed letter. Mate! If you're reading this letter, it means you're a free man. DRAKENBORG could never break you. New DRAKENBORG could never break you. I feel bad that it was you they fingered back then. Fate's not so nice at times, ain't she? But you're a made man now. I hate you were part of the loot in that cave. They wouldn't let us play in when they were young, or when we were young. It was full of them massive spiders then, but not a sign of the critters now. Well, I don't know about that. Hunters claim they've migrated elsewhere, not enough to eat here, so they won't be coming back anytime soon. I doubt that. I'm pretty sure we have an intriga directly in front of us right now. So it's safe, but the bad memories do a great job keeping out noisy hay seeds, making it the ideal hiding spot for loot. Chest is buried in the second part of the cave. Get it, and you'll be a rich man, and can drink and wench till the end of your days. See you later. You know where. We'll bathe in wine and live in luxury. AD. Okay, the DRAKENBORG Redemption, which I'm assuming is also going to take us in here. It says level 38. That could be kind of tough. Yeah, I think that's just going to be further down this cave. But we may need to go in here anyway for other quests as well. I mean, this is going to be a really difficult one. It is truthfully a bunch of level 38 enemies. Let's try it, though. I'm going to save again, because we're actually running into combat now. Like, what level are you? What level are you? It's going to be one of the key questions. Okay. 34. These are the spidery dudes. We did run into them previously, and we might want to throw on Golden Oriole for this occasion as well. It's technically our old one is still active, at least for another second or two. Okay. 2 of them down. Yeah, and I think there's a non-zero chance that by the time we are done with this cave system, we may find ourselves having leveled up. Oh, hold on. Before we loot this.
Ugly bastard.
Before we loot this, we may want to do this. That should make things a little bit easier. Hello. Is this a bigger one? Well, it's a dead one. That much is true. Okay, poison. Okay, well, that's a problem. That is a problem. Poison, not so much. Okay, but we're still relatively new to fighting these guys, so yeah, it does seem as though that's definitely a thing. Maybe not a poison after all. Or maybe their normal attack deals poison damage? I don't know. Okay, can you come back here? We do not have the stamina to hit you with an Iggy. It's rather unfortunate. I was kind of relying on that. Okay. So there was this guy that we were not able to actually loot before you started attacking us. Well, I mean, this gives us decent stuff. Probably start healing up a little bit as well, just to top ourselves off. And I thought there was another one of those bodies here, or something.
Jade. Now to extract some.
Ah, here we go. Yep. So this one is in good enough shape, good enough quality, as any reasonable Witcher would know. Okay, so is that enough, or do we also need to search for the other one? No, it looks like that was in fact enough. And I suspected that, it was going to be in one of the places where it's not just a simple walk up, loot the thing, and be done. And there had to be some kind of enemies in the area, right? Otherwise, it would have been just too simple, straightforward. So it makes sense for it to be here. Now, we're not going to make it through this area, I don't think. I think we're going to need to go around a little bit. Like, if we wanted to, we could turn around and just do that other quest, but I think while we're here, we will try to finish this up as well. And we still have our golden Oriole active, so while that is the case, we might as well make a point of trying to rush over. So, I mean, it's not urgent at the moment. We do still have additional charges of it, but this is ominous. That may change. We may see some of the big spiders. These may be the big spiders. This is a pretty big drop down as well. Okay, this is kind of concerning. Wicked Yurden. And whoa! Yeah, that's a big one. That's a big one, alright. Yurden. Whoa! This is a... Don't really know what we were looking at there, but I don't like it. I can tell you that much. Okay, got a few of them down. Do still have Quen on. And they're getting really slowed down in the Yurden. I know that it's technically supposed to be the preferred sign against them. We lost Quen. And it does seem... Yeah, it paralyzes them altogether. That's great. Makes a huge difference there. Hello. Just you? Still friends? We should probably throw down a Yurden again when we can. Alright, bring it on. Bring it on. Come on. What's the matter? You don't want to come over here? You don't want to come over here? Really doesn't want to come over here. Like, really doesn't want to come over here. Okay, I suspect there's going to be one more big bad spider here. Can you please not do this? Okay, well, sure, you got me. But can you please just walk into a Yurden already? Okay, forget about the Quens for now. Now, of course, they'll attack us. Well, we no longer have said Quens. And then you'll go to where the previous Yurden was, when the Yurden has now expired. You're down now. That may have been the last of them, though I thought I still saw one additional red circle there. So not necessarily sure we're done just yet. Yeah, I think I'm still seeing a red dot over here, right? Let's save, just because we've done most of the hard work now, but maybe not quite all of it. Like, you see this? Not far ahead of us right now? Still, big bad spidery dude to fight? Right, like, directly on top of us right now? Maybe? Maybe it's above us? Now, in theory, the loot we're looking for is probably in here. That? Whoa! Okay. Threw 456 orens. Were those orens or crowns? In a bucket. That's probably it. For everything over here, it would seem. Alright. Mission accomplished. A lot of spiders. One of which was a big spider. But still able to get the job done, and we are ever so slightly short of getting that level they were thinking that we might pick up in here. And yeah, so it does appear as though we do not need to go to that last potential Jade location. Got everything we needed here. So in that case, let's make sure that we reactivate this. Yeah, we can now take the hunk of Jade back to the Ophiri room, right? And do we have fast travel spots around here? We do at the Hunter's Cottage, or at the Grange, or Yantra. Cottage is probably still the closest. That's not very far. That's basically just a bit of a backtrack. Should be fine. And my question is, now that we have fought those guys down in that cave system, if we use our Witcher senses, do we see any additional sign of insectoids, or were those, as we suspected, just the ones that we were seeing in the cave? I think so. I don't see them anymore. And we're back at the Hunter's Cottage. So here we are. We'll fast travel back. And we'll check in with our room right and see how much more money we need to pay him. Or is it just the jade at this point? And 5,000 is... It's not terrible, because we were actually at 66-ish thousand. A little less than that, because we just picked up a bunch before we made that payment. But I mean, that's still less than 10% of what we had. So if that's what it takes to get one of the best crafters to be able to do his thing, then, you know, I think we'll take that. Not in here anymore. It's actually on around... Where exactly? Not you. Oh, here he is. Not sure we actually went up here previously.
Made good use of my coin by the look of things.
The return to my craft. Know you not the pleasure it brings. I thank you.
Don't mention
Welcome.
it. How's the work going?
Several lesser runes I forged already. Practice, you see. Yet I sadden in thinking the tools and ingredients I possess are not fit to create better.
Got lucky.
Of course
Find
not,
me some
but we do the jade.
Here.
Thank you, I do. If you to gaze wish at my handiwork, to do so I invite you.
Okay, Yoda. Oh, whoa! Okay, hold on. The rune right. The rune right. Interesting book-like symbol. Can enhance your items by fitting them with rune words and glyph words. These endow them with new, powerful traits. To enchant an item, navigate to the rune right panel. Okay, so we've got the funds for advanced tools. We may. That's what? I'm losing track of the zeros there. That's 10,000? We may want to go that route here. I think so. I mean, again, it's expensive. This occasion, you know, I was just saying, yeah, it wasn't too bad, but in total that would mean 15,000, which is what, like a quarter of what money we had, a little less than a quarter of the money that we had previously. But, you know, I was saying it a while back that especially as soon as we went through Skellige and went to do all the smugglers' caches and we were able to sell all that stuff, we had a ton of money, and we haven't gone above 60,000, or at least very much above 60,000 for a while. But, you know, we don't, or didn't have any major expenses that we were expecting to have to make anytime soon, because we have already made our round of Witcher gear upgrades, and I think there is still another tier of those, but it might still be a little while until that ends up happening. So I think this is basically what we've been saving up for, right? I think so. And, well, I mean, maybe before that we just chat him up a little bit.
Northern Realms. Like it here so far?
Oh, yes.
Get ready for even more spending. I mean, it's probably pretty expensive for him to actually make this stuff, right? This is just the tools.
With such colors brushed. Nordlings, however, peculiar they are. Tight-lipped, closed within. And bandits the high road's riddle. But on the horrid conflict this I blame.
Okay. Alright, so basically, was it, you know, the first round, initially he could just create the lesser rune stones, like he was just saying. Then we gave him the jade, now he can make the normal rune stones, and then by giving him this money for the advanced tools, then he can create the greater stuff. Maybe it works something kind of like that. I mean, we're kind of jumping straight into the higher level stuff and not sticking around, or not testing out the lower level stuff. Which, you know, it's not a bad thing per se, because, you know, why get the low level stuff if you can get the higher level stuff? It's just, you know, interesting to know what our money is actually going into here, right?
Brought you more coin. Put it towards better equipment?
Thanks in the thousands. Too kind you are to me, truly.
Your work's worth the coin.
Yeah, well, we hope it is. We haven't actually used it yet, but we'll see.
Hard at work. Good to see.
Ah, yes. Commissioned have I tools.
That was quick.
A fitting set from Novigrad crafters. Many arms and legs they charged, but renew my work in earnest.
I hope they just charge crowns, not arms and legs.
New runes, glyphs, and diagrams created I have. An eye you should cast. Find one to your liking, perchance.
So, nothing holding you back now.
from making master-crafted runes, you mean? Much more coin I need to do so, sadly.
You're not wrong. 15,000 for now, master level. Well, you know, I think I have heard people say before that this is just ludicrously expensive. I remember hearing people say like, "Oh man, the rune ride is so expensive," and of course at the time like meant nothing to me because we haven't been to that part of the game yet. But now I understand. Now I understand, because this is a lot of money we're spending. This is what? So we did 5,000, then 10,000, now 15,000. So we've done 30,000 in total once we do this, and plus the jade that we gave him. So that would be in total about 30, or rather 50%, a little less than that, 50-ish% of our total monies to make this happen. I mean, we still will have 30,000 to spare, so we're not broke after all this, but it is costing us a lot. And say, you know, we're paying a lot of your startup costs here, so we probably should have negotiated this from the get-go, but we're getting equity in this establishment, right? You know, like we're a partner. We're a partner in this enterprise. That's the way this works, right? Like we're putting up all of the money, so are we full owners, and therefore, you know, we will make all of the retained earnings. That goes to us, right? Right? So, you know, we're making an investment here, but ultimately you're going to pay us back, right?
Got a bit more coin for you. Better be all you need.
It's
For
okay. That's the last level.
Enough, but ingredients rare also, I recall.
Nope, not gonna happen. I want to see what my coins bought.
He's like, but wait, I need. No, not gonna happen.
Now have I all I require.
Oh
Sure
man,
about
30,000 coins, and it bought
My
us
running
36
costs
experience.
cover small sums will suffice, and no more rare stones do I need.
Almost too good to be true.
A cask of wine from the homeland I have. Our mutual success we should toast. Your health. For your aid, I thank you. My newest creations to examine you may wish. Invited you are to do so.
Okay. We asked him about the Northern Realms previously. Was it specifically this phrasing? I don't remember if it was or not. But yeah, also for a second there, I thought when you said that was the last level, I thought that I actually, when I skimmed over it, or when I looked over it and skimmed it, I thought for a second that you said that was not the last level, and I was like, oh no, are you serious? It gets even more expensive from here? But thankfully not, and we did, like I said, have a lot of money lying around, so I imagine it could have certainly been the case that if we had not done as much to save up our money, then this could have been a lot more painful, and it could have taken us a lot more time. We might not have been able to upgrade them all one right after the other.
Northern Realms. Like it here so far?
Oh yes. Never have I seen
Yeah, this is the same description he gave us. That's strange. It was not grayed out. I'm going to skip this because we have heard this.
Nordlings, however,
Or at least
peculiar,
try to skip it.
and bandits.
There we go. I was going to say, I'm pressing the skip button. Alright, so let's first see what you're just buying and selling here. And I imagine it's probably runestones and glyphs, right?
Wouldn't mind a glance at what you got.
Yeah. Okay. So there's this. And we can buy, you know, lessers, normals, and greaters, which makes sense coming from you. Then you do have some diagrams for... Okay. You do have some diagrams for some of the ones that we may not yet have. What is... I don't remember seeing this white-colored one before. Resistance to elemental damage. That's new. Resistance to bleeding, also new. Yeah, because all of our glyphs previously were just giving us sign intensity of some variety. But these ones that give us different forms of defenses, that is new stuff. Vitality regeneration, reduction in item durability loss. That's, I mean, quality of life and does save you some coins in the long run, but doesn't directly benefit you much in combat. And again, resistance to elemental damage. Yeah, that's interesting. So maybe these ones here are, yeah, for the new rune stones that we're seeing for the first time here. So I think we'll pick these up. They are going to start to add up once we pick them all up. And I was going to take issue if this guy was like loaded on money. Like if he had 100,000 coins and it was like, oh yeah, you know, I didn't actually need you to pay the upfront costs for this establishment. I could have bought all those materials myself. But yeah, you know, it just seemed like you were willing to do it for me, so I just had you do it instead. That would not have made me happy. But yeah, I think our other items here we're probably waiting to sell to an actual armor or weaponsmith. And we still have nearly 35,000 actually. So it's a little bit more than I was expecting us to have at this point. I thought we were going to be more at 30,000-ish. So yeah, I mean, especially once we sell some of the stuff that we have here, like our swords, I think are probably our more valuable things, then it's not going to make a huge difference, but it'll get us up across the 35,000 mark, I suspect. Unless, of course, if we're about to do some additional enchanting. But if we are to go that route, then I think we actually should initiate the conversation the more official way, like this.
Craft something for me, would you?
Okay, so rune words and glyph words. You can enchant items to fit them with rune words or glyph words. These cannot be used simultaneously with runes or glyphs. Okay, they're instead of them. When you enchant an item, any runes or glyphs it is currently fitted with will be destroyed. Wait, what? Oh, any runes or glyphs. Okay, so you're replacing any runes or glyphs that you had in an item. Gotcha. So, okay, sure. Items that can be embedded with rune words and glyph words and thus enchanted appear here. Only items possessing 3 enhancement slots can be enchanted. Okay, interesting. Oh yes, that means weapons and chest plates. But I don't think we've ever seen any gloves, boots, or trousers that have 3 spots just yet. This is a list of rune words and glyph words that you can be fitted with in an item's sockets. Rune words are used to enhance weapons, whereas glyph words enhance armor. Then a description of the selected enchantment appears here, along with the costs. Oh, I'm looking at the bottom left corner where the description is, and I'm like, where's the description? No, the description is actually over to the right. A little misleading. When at maximum vitality, any vitality regeneration turns into added damage. Huh. So if you're such a good healer that you don't need to heal, then you deal extra damage. Okay. They do cost greater runestones to create. That was the other thing I was going to wonder is, like, what is this actually going to cost us to do the enchantments? Enchantments have various levels. A rune can enchant an item of your choice only once he has reached a level equal to or higher than the level of enchantment he is to cast. Okay, enchantment level 3. I mean, after paying for all those upgrades, I think he can probably do everything, I'd like to imagine. Level-wise. Like, is that basically what we've done, is we've made it such that he's capable of making anything? Enchantments on the list can be added, removed, and filtered. Okay. It's the last level, don't worry. It can be... Check the crafting first, you said? Like, just the additional things that we just got the diagrams for? Oh, you can add spots if it doesn't have 3. I did not realize that. That's interesting. Okay. So I'm not sure we're necessarily going to do this right away. I mostly just wanted to see what our options were. I want to see what this is all about, especially after we threw a bunch of money at this guy. So when at maximum vitality... Okay, so we read about this one. Then prolongation. Each unblocked blow increases potion duration time. Huh. Okay, if we were focusing more on the potions, then maybe, I mean, we do, when we're doing big fights, use some, but this feels like mostly designed for people who are going all out on the potions. Punishment, after you cast a sign, an adrenaline point is consumed. Your next sword attack is charged with the power of that sign. What? You can have an I mean, I can imagine what an Igni sword swing would look like. I don't think I can imagine... Maybe an Ard I can kind of imagine as well. I don't know what other... Like, how does a Quen attack work? How does a Yrden attack work? That's an interesting one to think about. Each fatal blow dealt restores 25% of your stamina. If that was life, that'd be insane. But stamina, yeah, it's okay. Increases the range of Whirl by 1.1 yards and Rend by 1.9 yards. If we do start to rely more heavily on the Whirl, then that could potentially be nice, because it is very high damage, but that is one of the downsides of it is... I mean, the biggest thing is that it takes a long time to do, so you're very vulnerable as you're doing it. But if you have the enemy stunned or slowed, or for whatever reason you don't think that they're going to attack you back for a little while, then that's usually when I try to do it. But the other thing is that, yeah, you do need to be right next to them, which also does make you pretty vulnerable in that sense as well. So if you can increase the range of it a little bit, I mean, it's convenient. It's hard to say until you actually try that out to see how significant that is, though. And fatal blows dealt with your sword give 0.1 to 0.5 adrenaline points. Okay, and I'm assuming these ones that have the triangle around them are the higher level. Oh, actually, so there's one that's just a swirl with a triangle, and then these ones at the top actually have swirl and then double triangle. So I'm guessing that these ones are technically supposed to be a little bit weaker. Yeah, because these are like level 1, level 2, and then level 3. Okay, that's just the different visual for them. The level 1 ones that are theoretically a little bit worse. Once they reach their maximum level, adrenaline points steadily decline until they reach 0. During this time, vitality and stamina regeneration are accelerated and toxicity declines more quickly. Yeah, it's a little interesting, but... No, whoa. Haven't seen those runestones before. Dumplings! I like the name of it. Any food consumed regenerates 100% more vitality, but everything tastes like pierogies. I mean, pierogies aren't that bad. Pierogies can taste good. I mean, everything tasting like pierogies, maybe not great, but still. Oh, there are more. Okay. Preservation. Armor's table and grindstone bonuses never expire. That's interesting. How much of a bonus do those give? Isn't that like 25% or something? That's not insignificant. And, I mean, they last fairly long for that, but for that to be permanent, that's a pretty big deal. Severance seems to be a favorite of many people. Really? Huh, yeah. Like I said, it's one that feels like, you know, it's hard to tell until you actually try it out. But if that 1.5 yards in the world is a significant amount, then I could see that being the case. Make it easier to use it more frequently. Because it's felt like I can only use it in very specific situations, and usually I only end up trying to use it against some of our bigger foes. But that could make it more generally usable. Possession. When an opponent influenced by Axii dies, the effect transfers to a nearby target. The effect's duration increases by 2 seconds for each blow the affected target lands. Huh. That's interesting. Retribution gives 30% chance of returning a portion of damage received to the attacker. Okay, so like damage reflection. And there's the Quen that does the damage reflection as well. There's another potion that does it too. Like if you load up on all those things, you could probably turn yourself into a full-blown reflect build, if you will. Which is gimmicky. Don't know how effective it is. It feels like, you know, that might come back to cause you some problems depending on which type of enemy you're going against, but it's interesting. Foes set alight by Igni explode when they die and ignite nearby foes. That's fun, or at least sounds fun. Don't know how effective that really is. You know, it reminds me of like the Devourers and Rot Fiends, how they explode on death, and oftentimes if there are a bunch that are all trying to attack us simultaneously, then they will actually explode on their friends, and oftentimes that creates kind of like a domino effect. One explodes, that does enough damage to cause the other one to explode, and so on and so forth. So that actually, in the right situation, could be very effective, but in other situations could do just about nothing if there's only one enemy. All equipped armor items are treated as light armor. Ooh. So we We have deliberately been using light armor because we want to get the stamina regeneration to happen as quickly as possible. But this could make it so that we get the best of both worlds. Both the higher resistances from the heavy armor and the quicker stamina regeneration that comes from the light armor. Now, I have to see just how much of a difference that is in terms of, like, numbers, quantitatively. How much better is your stamina regeneration when you have the light armor? And then you can weigh that and see, you know, like, is this really worthwhile? Because, I mean, it sounds nice, but at the same time, by doing this, there's an opportunity cost. You're giving up the chance to get another one of these really powerful abilities, and is it better to just say, alright, if you want heavy armor, go with heavy armor. If you want light armor, go with light armor. And for your powerful enchantment, go for something else? Maybe. Beguilement. Enemies affected by Axii will be affected for 2 seconds longer for each blow they land. Does that mean the enemy that is attacking us needs to attack us for the Axii to last longer? Or does that mean that we, by attacking the opponent that has received Axii, we extend the time? That's very different. One of them is proactive, one of them is reactive. You know, if we Axii them and then have to sit around and wait for them to hit us in order to extend the time of Axii, then is that really helpful? Maybe not. Whereas if we Axii them and then we can start wailing away at them and that increases the time of the Axii, then we could potentially just permanently Axii them, and that could be great. Protection. When you enter combat, there's a 100% chance you will automatically gain a Quen shield without using any stamina. I mean, it's nice, in theory, but for the most part, at least when we predict going into combat, we will make a point of putting on Quen preemptively. And then if combat technically has not started yet, then our stamina regenerates really quickly. So, you know, if we do that well, then, you know, there's no real benefit to this. So it's nice in theory, but I think it's mostly a convenience and one that most of the time we're able to do ourselves anyway. Entanglement. When a trap is set by Yrden, hits an enemy, a Yrden glyph is placed at that position. But when a trap set by Yrden hits an enemy, Yrden glyph... Huh? Okay, this one I don't get the description of this at all. I mean, this might specifically have to do with one of the Yrden upgrades that we may not have taken. All equipped armor items are treated as medium armor. Huh. So that's just not quite as good a version of the light armor one. Was that levity? Yeah. So this one's a master, whereas this one is a level 2 one. Or well, this is a level 3, whereas this is just a level 2. Igni's basic attack strikes all opponents in a 360-degree radius. Whoa! But no longer applies the burning effect? No! But the burning effect is where most of the damage comes from. That stinks. All equipped armor items are treated... Is there a reason why you would want this? Is there actually a benefit at any point in time to technically having heavy armor? I don't know. When an enemy affected by Axii dies, the effect transfers to the nearest target. Hitting enemies with ARG reduces their stamina by 50%. Armor deflects all arrows. I mean, convenient, but not a huge deal. Enemies set alight by Igni have a 25% chance to ignite other enemies within a 2-yard radius. This looks similar to the one that has the Igni explosions, but just seems like it's probably a worse version of that, basically. And this is the last one. So there's a look at all the various enchantments we can get. They're very interesting. Some of them are a lot more elaborate than others, and they definitely, I think, many of them do suddenly require that you go with a more specific strategy in mind when you go into combat. It reminds me a lot of my Path of Exile experience with, you know, having to plan out in advance like this, or which one was it in particular? The Igni Exploding one. There are items in Path of Exile, which for those of you who aren't familiar, is basically an action RPG borderline hack and slash. It's like Diablo, basically, Diablo 2. And there are some really strong items like this, that some of the best items in the game have it such that you attack one enemy, and if you kill that enemy, it explodes and deals a percentage of its life as damage to surrounding enemies. And the reason why that's so good is because if you have a large group of enemies, you take one of them out, they all have that domino effect, all explode, and basically take out the entire pack of enemies. So at least against groups, something like this could be extremely effective, but it's kind of situational, and obviously Path of Exile is not The Witcher, and I think generally speaking, there's a lot more enemies on the screen at one point in time for Path of Exile than there are in The Witcher, so it's mostly, you know, not really a great comparison, but just what comes to mind at the very least. So here, yes, we can add sockets if we wanted to. This is an option. I see. I see. And is this only this guy who can do that? I don't remember that being an option before, but maybe I just completely ignored it previously. Okay, so like I said, I don't necessarily think that we're going to do any of that right now, because, I mean, I didn't really pay close attention to what the price was, but I imagine it's probably pretty expensive. And it seems like the kind of thing that, I guess the moral of the story of what I was saying there is that it seems like the kind of thing that requires a lot more planning. You know, you don't just casually throw on one of those enchantments and forget about it and have it benefit you much. You need to pick something that works with your playstyle, and you need to proactively try to make its effect happen. Oh, we leveled up here. Otherwise, you're spending a bunch of money on nothing. And they're elaborate enough that I think, you know, there's some considerable things to try to figure out before we start going that route. Why did these pigs die? To something? Another one over here, perhaps? Yeah, pork. What happened to the pigs? What'd you do to the pigs? Well, we did level. So let's throw on what will be, I think, our last of our Sunders here. Because this one will get us up to 25% damage resistance, or reducing 25% damage resistance for our opponents. So the idea here is that you have this, you have our Igni that is also melting armor, and that across those two things, we're significantly reducing the amount of armor that our opponents have, and that should start to make a pretty big difference with how much damage we can deal, especially against opponents that would normally have a lot of armor. That becomes a pretty big factor. Okay, so yeah, we will, of course, we will absolutely want to go back to this guy once we come up with a bit more of a plan as to what we want to do with our build, so to speak. But we just want to be intentional about it, basically. And, you know, that's the kind of thing where we've experimented a little bit with some kinds of Witcher gear. We've done mostly Cat School, a little bit of the Griffin School. But it's the kind of thing where it seems to me like at this point you very much want to nail down, this is exactly what I want to do, this is the approach I want to take from an enchantment standpoint, and that means that when it comes to our approach in combat, we're going to focus on doing this, this, and this. Like, you know, if, say, your whirl has increased range on it, then suddenly your whirl becomes your primary source of offense, and you're going to use that much more regularly. It costs stamina, and it costs adrenaline to use whirl, so suddenly that becomes an important factor. Maybe you need to pick up additional adrenaline point generation on some of your gear, or some of your potions and whatnot, so it all has much more of an interrelation than we've seen previously with our gearing options before. And that, I guess, is another reason why it reminds me a lot of Path of Exile. But, okay. So, that was the last component of this quest here. Roach is, for some reason, all the way up there. Beats me. But perhaps we did have a quest over here that was level 38, I believe, that we opted not to do at the time. We were saying we might come back to it. We were also saying we might go over to this question mark now. But let's just check our quests here. Because now that we have reached level 37 again, I feel like we want to try to do some of the lower level quests. Like 33 and 33, and I mean the main quest is also 33 at this stage, but you know, to the extent that we can do the lower level quests while we're still relatively low level, we probably want to make that happen so that we, to the extent that we can, avoid experience penalties. So, what was... that's a treasure hunt. This is the place where the Fury Merchant was attacked. This was... Huh. What was this one? Huh. Who was Cloyvert again? I know we were just not so long ago hearing about this one. I'll read the description for this. White Wolf, the Butcher of Blaviken, Geralt, gathered many sobriquets on his path. I don't know that word. One of which was the colorful and, dare I say, apt appellation of Puss Peepers. Sounds so familiar. Oh, this was the one where there was that lady who, yeah, called us that when we walked out of the burning building. Or was it the burning building at that time, or was that before it was burning? I don't remember. The person was with Olgierd and told us to go check this place out. This he gained during his adventure with Olgierd. Right, when a cheeky young woman in Olgierd's company pinned him as the man best able to track down the scoundrel who killed her friend, Floyd Fair, or however you say their name. So, yeah, I think this might be the best thing for us to do at this point. Right, Puss Peepers. Not the best nickname. Don't love it. Also, isn't a great fast travel spot to get to that point. It's kind of out in the middle of nowhere. You know, we could go Isolated Hut. We could go Darren Estate. We could go Hunter's Cottage. It's kind of equidistant to all those things. And we have... This is one of the places where we've done the most fighting out in the wilderness, so I don't really think we're going to find much else out here. So... Alright, we'll just take one of them, right? Go there, I guess?